Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby, Koay, joined by KIRK.
What's up?
We just got out of watching No Time to Die, and I was very, very much looking forward to this film, just like many of you who have been waiting anxiously because the film got delayed several times, with pandemic and all that. But we got to watch it today. We were at the very, very first showing in IMAX. That's how you should watch this film for sure, because it was shot in IMAX, and there are magnificent, beautiful IMAX sequences that it makes you drool. It's mouth-watering how good this movie looks. That would be my biggest takeaway, is that this is one of the best-looking movies I've watched all year.
I mean, that's what you come to expect when you're going in for a Bond movie. You want to see high-octane action, you want to see car chases, you want to see cool stunts, you want to see cool gadgets, and they definitely deliver on that front.
Yeah, I think of all the Daniel Craig films, this was the most James Bond movie in many ways, and the least James Bond movie in many ways. I think that's putting it as ambiguously as I can, because it does both. It cuts right down the middle, and I feel like this could be quite the divisive Bond film, and I can't really get into why, because it would spoil too much.
But I feel like the Bonds have had a different feel since Daniel Craig has taken the helm of James Bond.
Sure,
and so
certainly.
I'm more okay with that, although there were some really great callback classic James Bond moments that I really enjoyed, and once you watch the movie you'll know what I mean.
Yeah, there was some amazing action sequences in this, and much like I guess Christopher Nolan, it's like whenever you see something epic in this movie, it feels like you're watching something real. I don't know how much CGI was employed. I mean, I can imagine some parts were definitely CGI, but a lot of it looked like it was photoreal, like they shot it on location. Those are actual stunt guys doing actual stunts. And I mean, there were instances where I could see that Daniel Craig's face was put onto the stunt guy. I don't know if you caught that. I caught that from time to time, but overall it was thrilling. And that's what you want in a James Bond movie, is this thrilling. Now, a lot of these positive comments that I'm making are more targeted at the first half of the film, or maybe even the first hour, but then after that it goes into this sort of lull, this diatribe of explanation and exposition, and it's like, oh boy, it's like slowing down kind of hard here, but then it picks back up as you kind of expect it to. But I don't know that the action in the last section of the film matched the action in the first hour of the film for me.
Yeah, the first hour, the set pieces, the action was truly epic. And then as we kind of got through to the middle, I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little bit sleepy, so much so that I had to ask Jaby at the end of the movie, like, hey, was it just me, or was that middle bit kind of boring because I was falling asleep? And he was like, oh no, it wasn't just you, because I've been tired. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. But the thing that surprised me, actually, was just how emotional this movie made me
It did get emotional, yeah. I mean, there was definitely elements in there that you're not used to seeing in a Bond movie. I mean, I guess the Daniel Craig series has set it up very, very well, to the point that it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel like it's out of nowhere. It actually feels fitting, but I can see why it would not be something that traditional James Bond fans, or fans of traditional James Bond, would appreciate.
Right.
I can see how this would be a major turnoff for some people, and then it'd be like, oh, this is not my Bond. But I feel like in a lot of ways it actually honors the Bond legacy in a very, very strong, profound way. Like, even from the opening sequence, James Bond generally always has that opening animated sequence.
The epic.
The way they did it was, to me, a callback to Dr. No. And if you guys have watched Dr. No, if you've been watching James Bond as long as I have, you'll know what I'm talking about. They got the one-liners, like a lot of what they removed from James Bond in the Daniel Craig series, they brought back for this one. And there was a lot of James Bond isms in this that I thought, oh, it's like, okay, cool, we got our Bond back. But then it does things, and you're like, oh, well, this is not my Bond, but it's okay.
I mean, I'm okay. Like, I'm here for the ride, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Bond fangirl.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed Bond movies in the past, and I have been very indifferent to Bond movies in the past.
I was going to say, because, you really enjoyed we watched Spectre this morning, just to catch up, because Spectre leads right into this film. I'm so glad we watched it.
Yeah, because I would have been
watching No Time to Die. It's like, what are these plot points? I don't understand who these characters are. Like, why aren't they building them up better? Yeah, you have to watch Spectre, at least Spectre. I mean, it's better if you watch all the Daniel Craig James Bond films, but at least Spectre before going into this one, because it'll make a lot more sense of what's happening. But you enjoyed Spectre, and I was surprised, because you're not a James Bond fan.
I was all like, I don't really want to watch it.
And it seemed like you came out of this one actually quite enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie. Like, you get what you expect from a Bond film. Like, it is what it says on the tin. You get James Bond, you get sexy cars, you get sexy ladies, you get gadgets. Q is amazing. And yeah, I mean, all of the actors, in fact. I love the cast.
Yeah.
Huge action set pieces.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was there. I just didn't feel like the main villain was as strong or as well developed as I would have liked. I think that was my biggest grievance with the film, because it didn't really stick the landing in terms of the bad guy, who initially I was like, oh, this is really cool, his acting and everything, and he's got this character stuff about him that's very unique and interesting. It feels just like a James Bond movie, you know? Because if you go back to like older James Bond films, you'll run into that a lot, where you got these very like weird characters. But in this particular instance, like, he was weird and cool, but then boring.
Well, it's almost like he just almost came out of nowhere. Like it was like and then in the last half, here he comes, and it's like, oh. I
just wasn't clear about his motivations, to be honest, which is a weird thing to say. It's like, it seems like...
I thought they were pretty clear.
Absolutely not. I completely disagree.
Okay.
I knew what he wanted to do. I didn't know why. It's like,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the most developed, but simultaneously the most underdeveloped Bond villain, which is very strange. It's like, it goes both directions, because it's not like you don't spend time with the villain. You do spend time. He spends a lot of time talking. But in all of that dialogue, I didn't feel like I really understood why he was doing what he was doing. You know, in past Bond movies, whether they were good or not, like, you had a clearer idea or a sense as to why anyone was doing anything. Here it was just like, okay, so he's doing that. I get that, and I get the stakes. I just don't get why.
I get his like personal backstory stakes, but like the big picture stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah. So back to the positives about the film, I would say that the music is stellar as always.
God. Yeah.
They brought back that Bond theme song, because we just watched Spectre this morning, like I said, and I noticed that the Bond theme was like noticeably absent through a lot of the film. It wasn't there. It wasn't as present. And here it was like, oh, I was getting like amped up from the music.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And the action, sound effects was great. The acting was really cool. Like, the cast is just, it's a fun cast. And everybody who, like, all the Bond girls were dope.
Yes.
It was, they're treated different than they are traditionally in Bond movies, but that's been true for a while, I guess. I mean,
we've had quite a few badass Bond girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, it's not about them being badass. It's just that, I guess the easiest way to put it is this, and please don't think less of me for saying it, but I think that for a while now it's been woke Bond. You know, it's been a little bit of just woke Bond, and I think it's been ever since the one with the Komodo dragons or whatever it was. I forgot which Bond movie that was. I think it was actually Skyfall. Ever since Skyfall, because there's a scene in Skyfall where James Bond rescues someone who was formerly a sex worker or something like that, or a sex slave, and then he sleeps with her. He totally creeps up on her in the shower and then just does it, and like didn't ask her permission or anything. And I think there was a lot of backlash about that, and so they went the opposite direction. And so now Bond just likes one gal basically, and I'm like, okay,
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they set up in Spectre. Ultimately, I don't mind the direction they went with this. It's just that this is Daniel Craig's Bond, and that's what you have to sort of just accept.
Yes.
You know, and everything that happens in this film, I feel like, is the stuff Daniel Craig wanted, as far as I can tell. Like, it's just this edition of Bond. You know, it's not Pierce Brosnan's, it's not Sean Connery's,
right.
It's not Timothy Dalton or anybody else's, or Roger Moore. This is Daniel Craig's Bond. For it being his farewell film, because we know this is Daniel Craig's last movie, I thought that this was a very enjoyable Bond film.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a nice send-off for him.
Yeah, I can see why people will be aggravated or upset or feel like it wasn't good enough as a Bond movie. I can see why people might feel that way, but I felt like they hit a lot of the things that I needed them to hit for me to just have a good popcorn movie.
Yeah, definitely. I ate a lot of popcorn, and most of that happened at the beginning. In fact, all of that happened at the beginning of the movie. I was just like, oh my god, this is so thrilling. Let me just shove my face full of popcorn right now.
Right. Cary Fukunaga does a fantastic job in terms of where he places the camera in this movie for the most part. The DP and Cary work together to produce a beautiful picture, like I said. I really appreciated that aspect of it, because it's not that often that you get movies that are just this beautiful while being this action heavy. It's just, I see that more in India than I do over here, to be perfectly honest with you. And so it's cool to see that here. But, going back to what I said earlier about the action in the latter half of the film, or the last section of the film, it didn't hold that style. It got a little bit of shaky cam towards the end there.
Oh.
And it was just like sort of frenetic, so I get why they did it. It's just that it set up such a beautiful movie. And I think I understand, like, emotionally, conceptually, why they went that direction towards the last 30 minutes, last 45 minutes. It makes sense with, like, the emotional goals of the movie. But I was still frustrated. I wanted to see what was happening a little bit better. I think that Cary Fukunaga wanted to do more one-ers in this movie, and he just had to, like, screw it, and like cut it up.
Right.
Because, you know, he's famous for what's that? Detective, True Detective, right? And there's a freaking fantastic one-er in that show. So I know that's, like, in his blood. He loves doing that kind of very impressive cinematography. And I feel like he aimed for that here, but he couldn't. I imagine there was something in his way in trying to execute this one. I don't, you know, it's like you're always making sacrifices when you make a movie.
Right.
And so you just got to get it done, you know? And I feel like the last 45 minutes could have been better. This is the easiest way to put it. It could have been better. But as I keep coming back to, overall, I enjoyed it. I think that I want to watch it again in proper IMAX because we watched it in LIMAX. It wasn't like the full IMAX. There are different kinds of IMAX theaters. Smaller IMAX theaters and true IMAX theaters. And so we didn't watch it at a true IMAX theater. It was still gorgeous. Yeah. But now I want to go back and watch it again in a true IMAX film and see how I really feel about this movie, because I can't help but, like, feel a certain way about those divisive elements. And so I want to go back and make sure I feel what I feel about this movie, for good or for better or for worse. And I do recommend it. I strongly recommend this movie on the big screen. It was good that MGM waited to put it out. It's good that MGM didn't just, like, make it a straight to DVD or, you know, streaming.
Yeah.
I'm thinking old school here. Like,
yeah.
You know, back in the day we had VHS tapes.
Straight to video.
We had cassette players. Yeah, straight to video. I'm glad that they didn't just have it as a streaming movie. I'm glad that they made us wait until we could watch it on the big screen as it was intended to be seen, because damn, it looks so good on the big screen. So please watch it that way. Don't wait for streaming. Anyways, you guys, I think that we nailed all our non-spoiler thoughts as best as we can without giving anything away. So be sure to check it out and let us know your feelings in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out. Subscribe, hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you enjoyed what you watched. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.